Hello and welcome to this lecture. And in this lecture, we are actually going to learn how to create database tables in Django. So in order to create tables or the table structure, as I earlier mentioned, the models.py file is going to be the file which we will be using. So a model is nothing but it's actually a model of the table which we are creating right here. So if you're already familiar with table, then it's absolutely fine. But if you are new to database and if you don't know what a database table actually is, it's actually a tabular structure which helps us to store some kind of data. So the data in a database table is stored in a form of a row and columns. So what you could simply do is that if you go ahead and search for database tables on Google, and this is only for guys who actually don't know what database table is. As you could see, this is what a typical database table looks like. So this is actually the database table for storing student data. So as you could see, data is stored in a tabular format. Here we have columns, which is nothing but student ID, last name, initial, age, and program. And the columns are actually nothing but they are actually the attributes of students, and then you actually have the student data here filled in the form of rows. So each row represents data related to one student. So this is what a database table actually looks like, and this is how information is actually stored in the table, and that's exactly what we are going to create in this particular lecture. So when we have to create database tables in Django, database tables needs to be created in this models.py file. That is, you define the structure of your table in this particular file, and then you could actually go ahead and implement that structure in the backend. So in order to create a table, you need to create a class. So I'm just going to type in class photo, and as we have to store the information related to a photograph, I'm actually going to name this thing as photo, and then you need to type in models.model, as this is going to be a model. So the way to create a database model in the models.py file is that you need to create a class with the table name which you have to create in the backend. So as we are storing information related to a particular photograph, we'll type in the class name as photo. And now inside this particular class, you can define the attributes of the photo which you want to save. So for example, you might want to save the name of the photo, you want to save who is the creator of the photo, and let's say we are also selling this photo on our website, so we also need to save the price. So here let's define the first attribute. So the first attribute is going to be name, and this is going to actually be in the form of characters. So in order to make sure that this thing is saved as a character, we type models dot car field, which means character field, and then we need to specify the maximum length which is going to be assigned to this particular field. So we'll type in max underscore length equals, let's say, 100. And now once we have defined this field, we could actually go ahead and define the other fields as well in a similar fashion. So we'll type in the name of creator as creator, and this is also going to be models dot car field, and the max length is going to be, let's say, the same. And then finally we are going to have a price. Now this needs to be defined in the form of an integer, but still for the sake of simplicity I'm going to use car field as well. So that's going to be car field, and let's say the max length is going to be equal to 100 as well. Okay, so once we have defined this particular model, that means the database structure is ready. And keep in mind that this is not the actual database model, only means this is a database structure. So now once we have database structure, we actually need to implement this particular structure in the backend so that actual table is going to be created in the backend. So we are going to learn how to do that in the upcoming lecture. So we'll actually go ahead and implement this table in the backend in the next lecture. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.